Hey y'all, Jonathan here of Race Kiki. This is part two of my fantastic interview with Dr. Michelle Ogle. Um, we talk policing, we talk the future, we talk vaccines. And it cut off at the end, but she says she took the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, she and her family, and feels fantastic. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. This is hilarious. And as always, Dr. Michelle is filled with wisdom. So drink it up, y'all. Like and subscribe and make some damn comments. I love you all for coming back. Be amazing.
Especially, and I would go with women like that, you're trying to project something onto other people that you don't own, right? You don't own courtesy. You don't own respect. You don't own any of that. So you're trying to project the sign.
Dang.
Yeah, that was projecting like, I'm really not sorry, you little Negro person. Like I'm only sort of I'm only doing this because, um, she's not she doesn't have anything that she owns.
Oh, she only said sorry to Scott. She didn't actually say it to me.
Oh, you just made it worse. Oh, she said it to Scott, not even to
She
you.
said it to Scott.
Oh, so she totally said F you right to your face. Okay.
She said it to Scott.
Yeah. She didn't even hint. That was a total F
She didn't
you.
even. Sorry.
Oh my God.
And
That's
Scott was so oblivious about it because he's all
Mhm.
like he was already irritated at the children. He didn't hear the sorry. And
He
so he's
didn't hear
going
the
up the
sign.
stairs and I just blocked him. I was like, we're gonna give them a minute because if I walk up behind her, I'm a tripper. And I don't want that to happen.
Because
I
this is
look too
Easter
cute
Sunday.
and I know what will happen.
You,
Me.
yes,
Here
you
I am
would
going
be
to
the bad
jail.
guy.
Here
Yes,
I am going to
yes.
jail, making it 48 years without a conviction. And here I
No,
am going to
you
jail.
would be, yes, because you hurt poor Karen. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly how that would go down. Like, and you about like, eh, girl, please. You will be the last person that I would arrest for like hurting somebody. I'm like, that girl over there. I never she's more girl than me. What are you talking about? She wouldn't hurt.
it is
What are you talking
it's
about?
not even that I would hit you. It's just I don't have time. I don't want to. That's not even part.
It's
Girl,
not
sit
your
down
intention.
somewhere. It's
Right.
it's
Just
not
go,
even part of. I
right.
go, just go,
But
just
see,
go.
that's the she doesn't have anything in her life to feel that good about. Cause sound to me like she got brat ass kids,
Brats.
brat. So she can't do anything about that. And she's in a situation where she has no control.
You know
So
what she can do something about? Those kids are 9 years old. She can fix that. She can fix that shit right now.
she could fix that if
She's
she cared
choosing
to.
not to
She's
because,
choosing exactly.
boys will be boys.
Exactly.
That's why they're 36 years old shooting up shit. That's why they're 36 years old living in your goddamn basement. That's why they're 36 years old and you ain't got no goddamn grandbabies because you ain't teaching them how to actually be people.
Preach. Preach.
Shit.
Preach. Preach. You just said it. Preach. You just said it. You just said it. And that's why I make the comment when somebody says to me, oh, when my kids were younger, oh, your kids are so well behaved. Oh, of
What the
course
fuck
they
does
are.
that mean?
Right. What is that?
That
What do
was
you
that's as a matter of fact, that's a goddamn read. How
exactly?
dare you? You think that my just because my black children aren't swinging off the rafters?
Right.
Oh, they're so well behaved, i.e., my kids acting white. Shut the fuck up. Sit down
Exactly.
somewhere.
And that's when I look at them and say, you probably shouldn't be paying attention to my kids, and maybe you might want to pay attention to yours.
You should go get yours.
You might want to go get yours, or do you want me to give you some pointers?
Mm-mm.
Uh,
No, because then no, I'm not raising your damn children.
exactly.
I'm not raising your children.
It's the same. It's this. You just hit it all. You just said it all. And again, that's privilege.
That's
My
privilege.
kids don't have the privilege of what you said, just being kids.
They don't.
They don't have
They
the pictures.
don't.
My
The
kids act
minute
that way.
a black boy turns like 10 years old,
Yep.
he is looked at. Look at that big man. Come on,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
And that's what we reinforce. And then the
True.
minute the people I feel the worst for are young black girls.
Yeah.
Because our young black girls get their speed bumps a little early.
They
And
do.
then the minute they get those speed bumps, these
They do.
sleazy ass men come creeping along with their 46-year-old dicks, and you need to sit down somewhere because that's
Yep.
gross.
That's gross.
Again, I
That's
don't
disgusting.
understand when you have a sister. Would you want some 46-year-old man humping up on your 16-year-old sister? You wouldn't want that. That child is someone's sister. That child is someone's child.
Exactly.
Stop being gross.
And that's why what you said is important. It's incumbent upon us, and it's incumbent upon men to teach boys how to be respectful, how to behave, and what's cool and what's not. And you also made the point, see, it's okay for Matt Gaetz to be a sleazy scumbag because, and people have known it, because guys will be guys. He's always been that way. He's just like that. That's okay, right? That's the point you just made.
That is what we're telling. That is what we're telling every white woman in America.
Yeah.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay for a man to treat you this way.
Because
and we will allow it to happen. We knew he was doing this. Everybody knew he was a sleazy. Look at him. He looks like a sleazy motherfucker. I used to make suits for a living. I make suits for a living back in my day. When people would come in who looked like him, you just know, you are like, oh, you sleep with girls who are too young for you.
Because you're sleazy. I see
You're
it oozing
sleazy.
off of
He looks sleazy.
He does. He looks sleazy and disgusting. And you look at him and you go, ew. Like, ew.
And then you think about it this way. You're sleazy, right? You're a sleazy politician. How difficult, and this is no read at all on a 17-year-old girl. It's no read at all. But as a 30 some odd, 40 some odd year old man, what does it take to impress a 17-year-old child? Or even for that matter, an 18-year-old child or a 22-year-old child? What does it take? I can throw several $1,000s at you. Ooh, wow, you're buying me. Ooh, Louboutins. Ooh, this new bag. Ooh, I get to go travel somewhere. Oh my God, look at these earrings. Oh my God, I have 1 million Instagram followers. That's an 18-year-old.
That's how they think. That's right. That's why they're kids. They're 18.
Children. They're children. I thought that way when I was a child.
Absolutely. And really, listen, anytime like an older guy would pay attention to you as a young girl and they've got something and they're impressing, they got a nice car or all that, of course you're impressed with it. It's what you said. How much does it take to impress a kid? Because we're kids.
Because we're kids.
Because we're kids, and that's what happens when you're kids. So to your point, you're a sleazy, low-down scumbag when you take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he and his ilk, they do. They take advantage, yes, of these girls who are vulnerable for maybe many reasons and who are also just kids.
Just kids. And on top of all of that, we have all of these anti-trans bills happening across the country.
Don't even
all of these anti-Black folks voting happening across the country. Because while we were all so focused on getting Trump out of office for the last 4 years, what we neglected to do was pay attention to these people in city council, these people in state government, these people in city government. We forgot that. And so now,
because that's where it matters.
Yeah, that's exactly where it matters. So now we have
that's where it matters.
all of these legislations being passed because people are terrified of trans folks. You know why trans folks are up on the cutting block? Because they can't publicly say black folk. But no, we've masked it though. We're still being tough on crime, which means flooding black and brown neighborhoods to look for drug offenses, because when you get drug offenses, the federal government gives the police department money.
Right. That's exactly right. And the more money they get, more money,
The
the
more
more.
drugs they find.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so you can't go to the suburbs where all the drugs are and Timmy's backpack. You can't go there.
You can't
So
do that.
you go to a neighborhood, and in my neighborhood in Harlem at 141st, there are now sets of cops just sprawled all about our neighborhood for
Yes.
no reason. They're just sprawled out there.
And hanging out, like just hanging out there, sitting in the cars, hanging out there. And I'm like, what do you want? What do you what do you
Why
want?
are you here?
Why are you here? Like,
Why are you here?
why are you here? We're good. Why are you here? Why are you here sitting around looking for something, looking for trouble?
And then
Why
kids
you-
are
why-
walking down the street. These young black bodies are walking down the street doing,
Why are
I don't
you-
give a fuck what they're doing, being young and black. And you can tell when the cops are just languinating. What you're doing is telling these children, you're not even safe out on the street.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm watching you. I'm
I'm
watching.
watching you,
Yeah,
no
I'm
matter
watching.
what you're doing.
Yeah,
And
I'm watching you.
heaven forbid there's no gyms up here, there's no like community center, there's nothing for the young children to do.
Right. Right. So that to me would be a better place for that big police budget. Take some of that money,
Do something with it.
community centers.
Yes, put some activities up here. Give these kids, I bet you, maybe some acting, maybe some dancing, maybe some singing, maybe some business classes, maybe some learning how to use a goddamn credit card, maybe some resume writing, maybe I want to learn how to be a painter. Just something.
So when I was growing up, and we used to have something called Teen Club.
Mm-hmm.
And Teen Club was in our community schools. When I went to Teen Club a lot, it was in your middle school, it was in your high school, it was Teen Club. And what Teen Club was like an after school hangout. So the boys would play basketball in the gym. We would play sports, we'd play volleyball or we'd play kickball, whatever. But it was Teen Club. And let's say it would be from like 4 to 6 or 4 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
You hung out there. There were gym teachers or teachers from the school, not police, but teachers from the school that hung out and supervised during Teen Club. They would also get parents from the community to volunteer to come hang out during Teen Club. And it was something for a lot of kids to do until their parents got home from work, or just to get some of that steam off, just to do that. And Teen Club was like a fun place where we all hung out. So to your point, having community centers, having some constructive, like you said, playing an instrument, reading, listening to music,
literally anything. You could, you know what?
Anything.
There are communities, white communities, because I've lived in many, where kids could go play video games with one another. They were in community centers. There's computers there. Their college prep was there. All of these things were there, but this community was very white.
Right.
I was the only black person there because even my boyfriend was white. So it was just, I was like, oh, hey guys. They're like, oh, it's him. It's safe. It's safe. You can unlock your door. We know him.
He can come. But it's to your point, because they make the investment, the tax dollars, whatever,
in their
make
youth.
the investment in their
but
kids.
now
That's right.
Our investment is in our police.
Right.
Because we have to police, we have to militarize these children. It makes it feel like these children are constantly, always under attack, and there's nowhere that they can breathe.
It's true. No,
There's nowhere that they can just go be kids, like just go running.
Exactly. Because we know what happens with that, right? Running while black.
Listen, Michael Hager is trying to get this running clinic together, right?
Okay.
There's this New York gay running thing that he wants to do. And he
Okay.
sends me over this running thing. It starts tomorrow.
Oh, it
And
starts tomorrow.
yeah, he's on this call. We were on this call together. And
That's fine.
it was me and Michael, who's white, and Cam and Wes, and they're both white.
Okay.
So I was the only black person.
I was gonna say, you're the only one?
I'm usually the only black person in lots of places, as I constantly keep reminding myself. Yet another reason. Why am I the only one there?
Why are you the only one there?
So
Good question.
we're talking, and Michael says, "Hey guys, you should join this running clinic, blah blah blah." And he says, "Jonathan, I'm still going to get you to go." I was like, "Michael, I'm a black man in America. We don't run recreationally. You know what happens." And see, you're laughing. That was the appropriate thing to do. And Michael was laughing. But the other two white guys didn't know if they should laugh or not because I hadn't started laughing yet. So they didn't know.
They were like,
they're like, I don't know if should I laugh?
Should I laugh?
But it was funny. I know it was funny. That's why I said it.
Right.
And so,
and we all know, I know exactly what you meant. And
yes.
It's funny because it's true.
It's an absolute true statement. I don't feel comfortable running in this city. It's not something that I do. When I moved, I moved to Michigan very, very briefly. Detroit, as a matter of fact. I have a lot of family in Detroit, Michigan.
D-Town, yes.
A lot.
Yes.
And I was like 33 when I moved there. So here I am. I was running down the street. We were just off of 9 Mile. So here I am, middle of, I'm running, and I'm like having a good time, and I'm running. I was like, oh fuck, I'm running. I hate running. And here are the lights. Woo, woo, woo. So
I'm running.
Slow down.
Right,
I'm like,
running.
where are you going? I was like, I'm taking a run. Why are you running? Because my heart. Why are you running? Because my heart. You need to get home. Okay. You need to walk. Okay. So here I am. Okay, I guess I'm gonna walk home.
Right. And what kind of message is that? What signal is that?
What signal is that? You shouldn't be running, Negro.
Right. You shouldn't be running, Negro. And we're letting you know, if we catch you running again, you're fair game.
Yeah.
They put you on notice.
Yeah. And they put
you on notice.
It was such an odd thing because at that time I had moved to Detroit from Denver, and in my life in Denver, I was almost primarily surrounded by white people, and so I could go in and I was that fabulous sassy novelty because I'm not threatening, but I'm kind of sassy and I say mean things, but I say them in a funny way that you don't want to punch me in the face, but you're all like that.
You disarm people.
Yes.
That's how you disarm them.
Yes. It's one of my superpowers.
Yeah, because it's very clever.
Thank you.
Very clever. Very clever. Not everybody can pull that off. I just FYI.
It's one of my talents. You're frozen.
You're frozen.
Am I frozen or are you frozen? You're frozen.
You're frozen.
Oh no. Hold on.
That skill that you have that disarms people, where you're exactly honest in what you're getting ready to say or what you're saying, but your demeanor is such and your tone is such that you disarm them with this. All the time they're being cut. And they might not even know. Did you see that? You just got slashed.
You're welcome. Something I learned from my mother.
Exactly. And that is a skill. That's a skill set that a lot of people, you can't teach that. You can't.
I honestly believe that this has kept me from not having my ass beat at every conceivable moment known to man. Because some of the shit that flies out of my mouth, and I'm like, and you know I'm right, and they're like, shit, you are right, you're right. I was being an asshole.
Right?
I was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like you just said, you are a rotten motherfucker. And they went, yeah, you're right. Because it's the way you say it and the charm and that delivery. And they go, yeah, you're right. I am. You're right about that. He just spoke the truth. So that is hilarious because you're right about that, because somebody else would have got their ass beat.
And
that is a skill.
It's one of those, I think that's why I like doing these conversations about race, because I'm able to say like this all of this racist stuff, it's stupid. When we say it all out loud, because you taught me a lot of stuff about about the history of medicine that I kind of knew, but you made it so crystal clear. And once you hear it out loud, when you listen back to this, you'll hear how absurd it is for us to still believe this shit. And when you hear it out loud and you're like, wait, maybe I need to reevaluate some things. And I truly and sincerely believe the first way we change everything is one conversation at a time.
Yeah, and you're 100%. It's we inform. We're doing a lot of conversations at work now. I've done 2 lectures now for the staff on medical mistrust and distrust, what the difference is and why it exists. And I give them that history. I give them that frame of reference to understand A, why we don't like coming to the hospital overall, but B, why you guys kind of think the way you do. This is inherent. This is the way you've been taught to look at us as
forever.
As
and that's it. It's the way that we've been taught since birth.
Since the beginning, yes.
Since birth, because the minute, every time I ask people that question, it's my favorite question in the entire world. When did you learn about race? Everyone always tells me something that happened to them before they were 10 years old. Everyone always tells me something that happened before they were 10 years old. And
think about that.
That's made a wrinkle in your brain. So with that teacher telling you that story that you just told me, that story was in your heart when you went to high school. That story was in your heart when you went to college. That story was in your heart when you went to medical school. So that was a driving force where you're all like, whatever, bitch. But that story, you use that story and the wrinkle in your brain that story taught you, that drove you forward.
That's right.
And that informed your decision about people who don't look like you and what people who look like you are supposed to be treated like. And every time I ask people, and my favorite people to ask that question is white people, because they never include themselves as a race. I've never, when I've asked a white person that question, they've never included themselves, ever.
That's amazing. It's always like some story they saw on TV, right? Or something that
interaction
they heard
that they had with a black person, or some interaction that they had with a Mexican person, or some interaction they had with a Vietnamese. I can't say that, but a person from Vietnam. That's the one word I can't say.
That's okay. We all have those words that just don't come out right.
I was like, it's the person from Vietnam. But they always tell me a story about something other than them.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, actually.
It's my I love that question. And I came up with it when Scott and I were just kind of wandering the streets one day. And I was like, I have a question for you. He says, what? I was like, when did you learn about race? And he's all like, I've never been asked that before. I was like, I know.
It's an interesting question. No, because I've never thought about it. Like I've never, because, and I think let me tell you from my perspective, I think that the reason why there's a really good reason to ask that question is because we live with it. So I don't, like you live with race, understanding it, understanding racism. Like we've always kind of lived with it. So I've never thought about it as like, when was the first time I really realized that that was a thing? Because we've always lived with it. And I think having that, like you asking that question, it allowed me to think back that a teacher, is how I had the first experience with race. Because because my mom was a nurse. Okay. So my mom, when you're a nurse, like my mom knew who the doctors were to go to, who you don't go to. No, my mom always made sure we went to Black doctors. My pediatrician was a Black doctor. The family practice doctor my family went to was a Black doctor. My dentist was Black. Like I didn't know any different in terms of healthcare providers because your mother makes those choices. And because my mom and my grandmother my grandmother was a nurse's aide, my mother was a nurse, because they were in this space, they knew. They knew that the only way to get great care or the only way to keep my kids from experiencing this is to make sure they go to these doctors. So all my doctors were always Black. And I didn't know any different, and they were always good. Matter of fact, my pediatrician is the reason why I wanted to be a pediatrician.
That's amazing.
He was so wonderful. And because it was Flint, it's a small community. A lot of the kids I went to school with, we all had the same pediatrician, Dr. Carter, Dr. Norman Carter. And he was sweet, he was kind, he was good looking, just gorgeous. So he was kind, and that's how I thought doctors were. Like that's how I thought you behaved. And so he was the person that I felt like I really kind of wanted to be like him. Like everybody loves you, you're sweet, you're kind, you're smart. And he was the reason why I thought, I don't want to be like that. I could do that. I could be like that. And it was that interaction, that positive interaction with my pediatrician. And so I never knew, I didn't have an appreciation until I was an adult, what it felt like going to a white doctor. And the first time I did that, and I had the feeling you were talking about, I was like, okay, you know what?
I don't like this.
I don't like, you know what? I don't like you. I don't like the way you just talked to me. I don't like the way you treated me, and I won't be back. And
do you believe that going forward, in my head, I'm imagining a world where we all live anti-racist. We're in a multicultural kind of environment where I may not understand everything about your culture, but I will definitely appreciate it.
So when I was a kid, and so I'm answering your question this way. So when I was a kid, I heard my grandfather and I heard my mom and I heard my dad give my brother the talk. I was a kid. And when I heard them telling my brother how to interact with police, law enforcement, I was a kid. I heard this. Do you know what I said to myself? I said, man, I'm so glad that when I become an adult and have kids, I will never have to tell my kids that.
Answers that question.
It
answers that question. And I know that in my life, I don't remember my family giving me the talk. I don't. When I got into, I probably told you this, but I got into a car accident when I was 24, and it wiped out a lot of my childhood memories.
No, you did not. You didn't share that.
Yeah, it was terrible. But
no, that's terrible.
When I woke up in Colorado, everyone around me was white. And so it was this whole disconnect in my blackness. And it took
Mm-hmm.
me moving to New York and my life falling apart. So before I truly explored what it meant for me to be Black in America. And that
Mm.
happened 3, 4 years ago.
You know what? I think your point, I think those memories and those lived experiences you had, they got lost.
But I still
And
feel it. I still know.
yep, that you
I
have
still
that
know.
void,
Hmm.
right? But it's again, your ancestors, your mother, those shared lived experiences, we all have them inside of us. And so we intuitively know certain things. So
Hmm.
even though you didn't have that, you remember that you had to talk and maybe you didn't, intuitively,
Oh, I
you
know.
knew.
Oh, I knew.
You knew
I knew.
because we have those lived experiences from our forefathers and mothers that they tell us, they channel us how to behave. So even though I heard my brother getting that talk, and at the time I thought it was the most asinine. I'm like, these are police. Like, I
Hmm.
thought it was the most asinine thing to hear.
Hmm.
But then I thought, that's that's ridiculous. That's so 1970s. Like that's like that can't possibly be a thing.
Hmm.
And then when I heard the words coming out of my mouth to my son, and it was the exact words that I heard that were coming out of my grandfather's mouth to my brother, I was like, that was, that was 50 years ago.
Exactly.
And I'm having this conversation.
And it brings chills down your spine.
It does. It terrifies me. It terrifies me. It terrifies me. It terrifies me. And the other part of it is, so my husband is Guyanese. So my husband is from Guyana.
Hmm.
He came to this country. He was 10 or 11 years old. His parents, he didn't get that talk. He didn't have it. So he didn't know how to have that talk with my son. But he's a Black man. He intuitively knew how to behave. When they came to this country, he grew up in Queens.
Hmm. He learned real quick.
There you go.
He learned real quick.
He learned real quick
Hmm.
that the
You
idea
know.
that what you were taught when you were in South America, what you saw on TV, it's not going to be your lived experience here.
Hmm.
He learned that really quickly, living in Queens, and understood he was a Black man. So
Hmm.
that those experiences that you have as a young person, you never think that you're going to impart them onto your kids, because you would like to think the country is going to change and get beyond that at that point. And that's why when you ask that question, that's the only way I can answer it to you, because I have no faith
Hmm.
in this country. And right now, what we're going through right now with these, with this, I mean, I know it's always been going on. Like, I know it's always been going
Not
on
like
because we've
this.
always been a witness
Not
to
like
it.
this. Not like
But
I
not
feel.
like
Not
this.
like this. This is a particular amalgamation of so many different toxicities moving
Yes.
around together
Yes.
that there is going, and I predict, I could be wrong,
You
but
froze
I
again.
predict.
You froze
Uh-oh.
again. Where'd you
Oh
go?
no,
Come
not
back.
again. No.
You froze.
Damn it.
Okay, why are you fussing? I think there's some boogeyman
They're like,
chasing
no,
us.
no, stop it. No.
What is
Okay, okay. No, but what I was saying was, what I suspect is the culmination is going to be the Derek Chauvin trial.
Yes.
Something's going to pop off.
Something's gonna pop off. If he is not convicted,
The
this
city's
is gonna be
going to
a
burn
long,
down.
hot ass summer. It's gonna be
Girl,
a long, hot ass summer if he's
girl.
not convicted.
And if he is, it's going to be even worse, because if he is convicted, then you're going to have to take the entire institution of policing to task.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we can't, Trevor Noah said it perfectly today. It's not bad apples. It's the whole rotten tree with a couple of good apples.
That's exactly right. I love Trevor Noah, and he laid that out.
It
He
was
laid that
perfect.
out.
I couldn't say anything better.
You could, right. When are we gonna? He said, when are we gonna stop saying a few bad apples?
Because it's not.
Because it's not.
Every Black person I know, every single Black person I know has a cop story. Every one of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go, and you can go all the way up the chain. Obama told his cop story. Eric Holder told his cop story. I've heard my husband, his brothers. It's what you said. I don't know a Black man. I don't know one. Mm-hmm. I don't know one who hasn't had a cop story. I don't know one.
I've had several cop stories. I remember when my sister Jasmine and I were driving down to my great-grandmother's funeral from Colorado, and we drove through Texas, and some officer pulled us over on the dirt road. The only reason we got away is because Jasmine was wearing a low-cut top. That's the only reason we got away. Because Jasmine leaned over and she had those double D's over, and he's all like, huh?
Wait a minute, why did I pull you over again?
Exactly. And I was like, thank you, girls. And we just kept on going.
You know, I will say, where I understood firsthand, my first cop story where I understood firsthand was in Detroit. And I used to live in Palmer Park, mm-hmm. which is right near Sherwood Forest, in a really nice area. Mm-hmm. So we're talking back in the 80s.
Bougie.
Beautiful area, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was in the car. I was in the passenger side. I was in the car with the guy who went to medical school with me. And his family lived in Sherwood Forest. And he was driving a BMW. Okay. And so he had come to pick me up. I lived in Palmer Park, right around the corner from the park. So when he was picking me up and we were driving out, he ran into one of his friends who is an attorney, but he was riding his bike.
Okay.
So he motions to him, pulls him over, and we're in the park. And he's in the BMW talking, hanging out the window. And his friend, who is a lawyer, on his bike was at the car talking. The popo drove up. The popo, I saw the lights.
Mm-hmm.
And the popo, this is my first interaction. I hadn't had this problem, right? And so the popo pulls the lights. One comes on my side. One goes on the other side. And his thing was, what are y'all doing here? So I'm sitting there going, what does he mean? What are we doing here? So the guy who's driving the car said, nothing, I'm talking to my friend. I just came to pick up my friend who lives around the corner, and I'm talking to my friend. What are you talking about? This was kind of going on. Now, me being stupid,
mm-hmm.
I said, it's none of his fucking business what we're doing. Exactly. To see the way you just looked there, I didn't know any better, right?
You didn't know any better.
I didn't know any better, and I was stupid. Mm-hmm. I said, none of fucking business what we're doing. We're not bothering anybody. We're just sitting here talking. So the guy that was driving, he turned over to me, and I have never been spoken to like this by a guy like this. He turned over to me, said, shut your mouth before you get us both killed. And then I shut up, because I saw it in his face. I saw the terror in his face when I started spouting off at the mouth and didn't know I was getting ready to get us killed. Mm-hmm. And I saw the terror in his face. I heard the seriousness in his voice. The guy that was on the bike was trying to help. The police told him to go somewhere. And they continued to kind of question my friend, who ended up showing his driver's license, showing that he lived around the corner. That was my first interaction. And I didn't realize how close. And the policeman that was on my side kept saying to me to keep my hands, like they were on my lap, to keep them on my lap.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your hands on your lap.
Mm-hmm.
All while the other guy's been talking to him, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? What do you mean keep my hands on my lap? But in that minute, I realized I realized what the talk was all about from as a female being a passenger in a car with a Black man driving a nice car, a young Black man, because we were all young. We were in medical school.
Mm-hmm.
He was young,
Mm-hmm.
and then it came to me that they thought they were doing a drug deal of some sort because he's in a nice car and his friend is on the bike.
Exactly.
And so that was my first interaction, and that was my first understanding what the talk meant.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend, after the interaction was over, he said, "I'm sorry." I said, no, I'm sorry. I said, I could have gotten us both shot, and I didn't even think that I shouldn't have opened my mouth. Like
Right.
I didn't even
It didn't
think
even
about
register. Yeah, it didn't
it.
register.
It didn't register. And that was my first interaction with the popo. And I was terrified. And I then in that moment understood what Black men must feel when they see the red and blue lights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, switching gears, this will be the last thing I want to chat about.
Yes, my dear.
Vaccines.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about that disrespectful Saturday Night Live skit where David Oluo,
However you pronounce his name, but that is something like that.
yeah, he Kalua.
From us.
Kalua, yeah.
Yeah,
He was playing a doctor with his 3 Black relatives trying to get them to take the vaccine. And it was these ghetto stereotypes, these uneducated, like these same tacky ghetto dumb tropes of us that have been going on forever. That's right. It still perpetuates the fact that Black and brown people have a hesitancy toward vaccines that you spoke about earlier. And also, well, depending on where you are, Black people also have a very difficult time locating a vaccine.
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
So you and I, without even really, I did not think that skit was funny.
I hated it.
And I agree with you. I thought it was very stereotypical. And what I also thought was it missed the mark. It missed the point of why Black people and brown people have to think twice about getting a vaccine. You missed the point. You were basically saying we're the idiots. Instead of, if you really wanted to make that funny, it would have been really nice to have some white doctors there and have them say some of the shit that we've had said to us throughout time when it comes to healthcare.
Right.
And that would have been funny, and you could have put a spin on that. But that stereotypical, I didn't think it was funny. So I didn't think it was funny because it's not accurate. So we talked about our historical experiences with the healthcare system. We didn't get into, but we all have some knowledge of the Tuskegee experiment in which men who had syphilis were denied treatment. Okay. That's a different scenario, but that's what people put in their mind when they think vaccines or when they think injections of some sort. There's the inaccurate story of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment is that they gave the Black men syphilis. No, they had it.
And they didn't treat it.
Right, they weren't treated because they wanted to see what the natural progression of syphilis would be. So that's sort of inaccurate, but the historical perspective has been that when it comes to treatments, when it comes to vaccinations, we aren't told the truth. And historically, our people have been on the research end without knowing we were on the research end of some things. I also want to say that it's not, my experience is not that Black people are really hesitant necessarily about the vaccine. They didn't trust this previous administration and the words that were coming out of their mouths.
Truth.
About the vaccine, about anything, right? About anything, COVID, anything. Everything they said was a bald-faced lie. So we had no scientific proof being presented to us as a people that this was a good idea. We had lies. We had Dr. Anthony Fauci being hushed. Don't even get me started on Deborah Birx. She totally disrespected our profession. She totally did not live up to the oath that we take to do no harm. So I don't even want to talk about that health. But Dr. Anthony Fauci was sidelined. There are other people within the CDC that are people that we depend on for accurate information that were hushed. So we weren't getting accurate information. So a lot of the hesitancy came because we didn't trust shit that came out of that past administration. They're a bunch of liars and racists, right? So we didn't trust that. What I think is what you said. I think what they saw was the opportunity to take what was perceived as real hesitancy to not provide the vaccines in our community. Period. That's what that was. Period. No,
because
period.
When vaccines were in our community, Becky and Stephen and Joan and Rebecca were in line, 22 years old, musical theater writer. Taking this vaccine. Waiter at a restaurant. And again, I'm not coming for any of that. I am not. That is not what I'm saying.
Because they're not the problem.
They're not the problem.
They took advantage of the system as it was put in front of them. So they're exactly.
And that system that was put in front of them was put in front of them for them to succeed.
Exactly. So, because where else? Okay, so where did we have the drive-through vaccines? Where did we have the drive-through COVID testing? I didn't see any of that in Harlem. Sorry. I didn't see any of that in any of the Black neighborhoods. I didn't see any of that in the Bronx.
But then when that testing facility, the vaccinations facility opened up in the Bronx, and then all the white people from Westchester came down.
Yes.
And so all the vaccines from the abuelas.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
That's one of my favorite words in the entire world is abuela.
The abuelas, the abuelitos did not get.
I love that word.
Yeah. Because isn't it endearing? Isn't it an endearing word? It sounds different than grandma. It's endearing, isn't it? So that happened. And so our community was actually deprived of the vaccine. And then in the meantime, there's this myth out there that, Black people don't get. No, Black people were seeing their mothers, brothers, fathers, uncles, cousins dying of COVID. We all wanted to get vaccinated because we were living our whole families. I mean, I saw fathers and grandfathers dying. So we did not want that to happen. So we wanted the vaccine. It's just, the system, what it is, but B, it wasn't made available in our communities. And they used that against us. They use that against us. I kept saying, no, I don't know people that are that hesitant. I got people asking me, where we
I don't know people that stupid.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I don't know people that stupid.
I don't.
I don't know who these Black people are you're talking to. I'm with you. Them.
Because everybody was asking me, are you guys going to be giving it in your clinic? Where are you getting the vaccine from? Where are you? They were all asking that. I didn't hear anybody saying, well, I'm not doing that.
Or if I did hear something, it would be questions. Well, do we know about this? Tell me about, tell me the science behind the vaccine.
Yes.
Tell me this. It wasn't along the lines of, I ain't taking that. It's sorcery. It got chips in it. The only time I've heard that was from white Republicans. That's the only time I've heard about microchipping and all that dumb shit.
Yeah, that the microchip, that the government's got a microchip in it so that they can, and it's like, how stupid is that? But to your point, the largest demographic that they're not vaccine hesitant. They're actually not going to get the vaccine are white male Republicans who are Trump supporters.
Yes, absolutely.
Like 40-something%.
Absolutely correct.
40-something%. So focus on them. It's not us. It's just you had not made the vaccine available in our community. Then you want to.
Those communities have that vaccine available and thumbing their nose up to it. And we won't even talk about the fact that they're thumbing their nose up to it. And we have countries on this planet who can't get the vaccine for another year or so because we're hoarding it all because our greedy asses are deciding, you know what, I'm not taking this or I'm not going to take it. I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to. Jesus told me not to take it. You know what?
Jesus protecting me.
You know what? Here's my fun fact about that. Let's follow these. Okay. So Jesus told you not to take this. All right.
Okay.
All right. So Jesus also told me that this doctor here, that this scientist here has been given a gift from Jesus with the talent of medical science.
Mhm.
And that talent of medical science that Jesus gave this medical scientist came up with a vaccine to save the Jesus's followers.
Right.
If I was a child of Jesus, and I also believe that everybody is a child of Jesus, I too would believe that the scientist was given this formula through divine intervention. You hear all this tongue in cheek I'm doing here,
Yep.
by divine
Yes.
intervention
I like
to save the followers of Jesus.
Right.
So
His-
using that very, very specific line of logic, I too would take the vaccine.
Absolutely. But here's what people do. I love the way you did that, because it would make sense if you believe that.
If you believed that, but you don't, you're a fucking hypocrite.
Exactly.
You're a goddamn hypocrite. Talking about you believe in Jesus and eating shellfish. Shut up. Talk about you believe in Jesus and on your third wife. Shut up. Talk about you believe in Jesus and put your mama in a home because she got too tiresome to take care of. Shut up.
Shut up, right? As Ellie Miss Styles said on, I think it was on Tiffany Cross's show, they need to have a warm glass of shut up.
Just shut all the fucks up. Just shut up.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of all of this American hypocrisy. I can't stand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how we can even live with ourselves, how we can talk about we're the peacekeepers when this country is falling the fuck apart. How can we be in anybody else's business when our house is on fire?
Absolutely. Absolutely true. All of that is 100% true, but you do that when you feel that you're superior.
Of course.
You're superior.
Because you're white.
Right. And you can tell them how to do whatever it is they do, because what you're doing over here is so right. Right.
Yeah, it's so white.
It's
and when we have a system that isn't even working for the poorest of white people,
that's exactly right.
But those poor white people feel emboldened because at least they're not Black.
Right.
At least they're not Mexican. At least I'm not Asian. At least I'm not Muslim.
Yes. Did you ever hear this line Chris Rock did in one of his stand-ups? And we were talking about just this conversation we're having, this point you just made. And what he said was, in the context of what we're talking about, he said, I'm rich. I got money. I'm wealthy. But you couldn't pay a white man to trade places with me.
Not 1 second.
Right. And he said it being funny, but he was right.
He was absolutely correct.
He was 100% correct when he said that. I got money. I'm rich. But you couldn't pay a white man to change places with me.
Nope.
And that's exactly what you just said. He made that point. And it was like, yeah, you're really right about that. And here it is. Here's where we can't get. And this is where I laugh at people. You can't get, and I lived in North Carolina for 20 years and live amongst the rural community. North Carolina is 80% rural. And you have these rural white people thinking that they're better than me. I'm a doctor, right? But they think they're better than me. And what they've been convinced of is that they are better than me. The poorest white man thinks he's better than Barack Obama. And these culture wars have continued to send that same message. This is the whole message that Trump harnessed. See, Trump knew that message would resonate because he knows dumb white folks. Trump ain't that stupid. Trump knows dumb white folks.
He does. He knows that rhetoric quite well. He
knows
was versed
it, right?
in it.
Exactly. He knew. I know how to gin these people up. I know
manipulate. I'm gonna manipulation, and robbing them tooth and nail. As my mama would say, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yep, and pick their back pockets. All while he's telling them, Turn around and look at those people over
Look,
there.
they're stealing from you. They're stealing from you.
And
Let
he
me take
took their
all
back
this
pocket.
money. Let
Yep.
me. You're donating to my campaign. It's okay. You're gonna donate every week, $500 every
Yes.
week. Oh, you can't eat? That's okay. It's those immigrants' fault.
Exactly. It's their fault. And so they've successfully, as a party, the Republicans have successfully showed white folks how stupid they are. They use them. They use poor white folks. They use poor uneducated white folks, as what's his name, the 44 and a half said, I love the uneducated. 44 and a half loves the uneducated because he knows what he can say to manipulate them.
Mhm.
So they've successfully used that to say, those people over there, they're coming for you. We're the ones that are looking out for you. And the whole time they're picking your pocket.
Robin, doing nothing. Where
Doing
was that
nothing.
health? Where was that health plan he was supposed to come up with?
Exactly.
Where was it?
And
As
you're
you're gutting Obamacare left and right, you're gutting. You're when he came in, he's all like, "Oh, gay rights, gay rights, gay rights." These dumb homos following him, knowing tooth and nail that he doesn't give a goddamn about you, stripping your rights away, coming for your trans children, coming for all of that. And your dumb ass is all like, "But he's not that bad." What the fuck is wrong with you?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What
And
the
now, do you
fuck
still
is
really
wrong
want to
with you?
say he wasn't that bad? Like, do you really still want to say that? You are still living in
Only
the
white people say that, though. You
No,
know
listen.
that. Only white elite, like entitled people say that. Because for them, their life didn't change.
Exactly right. It
Nothing
didn't.
changed.
It didn't change for them. But I also try to point out to the poor white rural folks, you still living in the same trailer park you were living in when Donald Trump took office.
With less money.
With less money. And if
Less
I
money.
remember correctly, some of them were telling me that they paid taxes and they hadn't had to pay taxes in years. I said, well, that's what your president is doing for you.
How the hell are you living in? I'm sorry, I'm not coming for. I'm not going to do that. But how are you going to live in a trailer park and pay taxes?
Right. Some of them had to pay. I heard some of them say, I've never had to pay taxes, but I had to pay taxes this particular time. And I said, you know why? Because they came for your disability, because they put taxes on monies that had been protected. They came for that this time so they could pay for their tax cuts for the rich folks. You're never going to be that. You keep thinking
Amazon, and you keep ordering from Amazon, they're not paying taxes.
Exactly.
You keep ordering from Walmart, they're not paying taxes.
Exactly.
And guess what? They have more money than your family combined tripled.
Yes.
But yet your dumbass is thinking, I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket and I'm gonna win. Shut up.
Exactly. Shut up. That's not how it works.
That's not how any of this works.
It's not how it works. You're never going to be like Trump. You're never going to be a billionaire. None of that is going to happen to you.
It's not.
It's not. You're going to be in that same trailer park.
With the same people who think the same way. And 20 years from now, your entire family will still be there.
Exactly.
Still angry, still hostile. Or you could choose differently. Or you could be part of a conversation that we're having when you can think about, when you say it all out loud and you're all like, wait, this is fucking stupid. Let's make a different choice.
Right? While he's got you focused on, but if you put me in office, I'm going to put all the right judges in place. I'm going to make sure you can carry your guns. I'm going to do ABC. But he's not putting money in your pocket.
He's not. He's not giving you jobs. He's telling you that these manufacturing jobs are coming back to America. We don't use coal anymore.
Exactly.
We don't use fossil fuel anymore. So what are you mining? Now, if you want to learn solar, which I think is the way of the future. Absolutely. If you want to learn coding, which again is the way of the future, and not a lot of people do it because most coders are white men. Go on into that field. I feel like there are more ways for us to grow together as opposed to trying to return back to that shit that wasn't working for everybody.
Exactly. But see, if you what you just said, it's rational, it's progressive, right? And it's inclusive. It's inclusive of everybody. What you just
Everyone, come on, learn some new
everybody.
shit.
What you just said is inclusive. But when I've got people that have convinced you that you're the problem, not me. You're the problem. You're the reason why. You're the reason why I'm still in this trailer park. You're the reason, your Black Lives Matter. You're the reason why we have these issues with race. When I've convinced you that it's not you, that it's them, it's hard for them to listen to the message that you're trying to send. It's hard to hear it.
You know why I've been in these conversations and I only have one thing that I respond to. Mm-hmm. How? Because
right.
When we're True. Young, who, what, when, where, how.
Right. So, you need to be able to answer.
Yes, I need you to answer all of these things. If you can answer all 5 of those things, I will understand and digest what you're trying to tell me. But if you can't tell me why my Black body is keeping you in that trailer park, your hypothesis is shit.
It's shit. It's all wrong. And if you could listen to the message, it could bring everybody up. It helps if we all band it together, which is why they divide and conquer. You see, they're not stupid. People think they're stupid, but they're not stupid.
They're not.
It's called divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. And they know that if they keep them pitted against us, if they keep them pitted against natives, like you said, BIPOCs, if I keep them pitted against all these people.
And us and all of us collectively pitted against one another.
Exactly. Right.
We all, if we all just stop all this bullshit and start talking, which I love doing, I love talking, but you get everybody talking and we all hear and start saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. You're like, wait a minute, girl.
Exactly. And that's why they try to convince us that we have a beef with the Latino community. We have a beef with the Asian community. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We really don't.
We really don't. We're all on the same page, and we actually all have the same
beef against you.
Exactly.
Because our beef is actually with you, because
it's with you.
You are the ones that are perpetuating this negativity toward us because we don't have the power.
Exactly. We don't have the power. We don't have the megaphone. We're not in the situation to really say that the message you get. Listen, this is why I say, don't tell me about pitting against this. When I'm in the Bronx with my kids who are Puerto Rican, with my kids who are Mexican and all, we are all the same. When I'm talking to them like I'm their mom. I'm talking to them like I'm their tia. I am talking to them in a language we all understand. We ain't got no beef. We ain't got no beef. It's we don't have a beef with each other.
And that, I feel like that is also a good time, young people, also a good time to talk about race.
Right. It's always a good time to talk about race.
I know.
And it's always
on that note,
to talk about it with you. I appreciate
it. It was such a wonderful, I loved having you. I love talking to you.
Well, let's do it again.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for being on Race Kiki.
Thank you for inviting me. This was a great way to spend the end of my week and my afternoon. I adore you. You're everything. You're all that. And I just got to send this a shout out to you real quick. Adriana's not here, but she knew I was going to be meeting with you. She says hello. And she likes she loves to see what you're wearing. She loves to see how you dress, Scott. I didn't know it's a whole thing. Like, it's a thing. And I didn't realize it. Until I was showing her the pictures from Michael's engagement, and I was telling her what you had on. I was like, I said, my guy brought in spring. And she said, oh no, I specifically look. Oh no, I look at what, because he's wearing, and he dresses Scott. It's just, so I didn't realize that this is a whole thing. So
we're a package deal.
It's a whole package deal.
Together. Yeah, every time we're together, our outfits always complement each other, because we always have to make sure that we look like we're going to the same party.
Well, you definitely did for Michael's. I was telling Adriana, because the first thing she said, well, how did he dress Scott? it's a whole thing with her. She follows you and follows all of this and the artwork. And so she knows everything. And she knew the right questions to ask me. I showed her what, and then the next thing was, well, how did he dress Scott? Let me see how Scott was. So you have a big fan club over here.
Oh my God.
Who Adriana absolutely adores you.
I can't wait to hang out with you guys after I get my second vaccine shot.
Yes, we'll get that. I was fortunate enough. I got the J&J.
Oh, okay.
And I'm